Okay, so have you ever been, just drowning in information, maybe reports at work, maybe just scrolling through news, and then you have to make a call, make a decision, and you just feel stuck?
Oh, absolutely. It's a pretty common feeling these days.
Especially now, right? With tools like ChatGPT throwing even more stuff at us, it
Uh,
makes you wonder, how do we actually, filter all that out and make genuinely good decisions,
hmm
particularly when maybe our own brains are kind of working against us sometimes?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not just about the external noise, like you said, but what's
Right.
happening inside our internal wiring.
Exactly. And, well, that's why today we're going to take a deep dive into something I think is super relevant. It's a Coursera course, highly rated actually, called Critical Thinking for Better Decisions in the ChatGPT Era. And the interesting thing is it's not just theory. It promises to give you a practical handle on how your brain actually works and, yeah, where it might trip you up.
And that course comes from some pretty well-known names, right? The
Yeah.
Learning How to Learn folks.
Yeah, that's the one. Dr. Barbara Oakley, Dr. Terrence Sejnowski, and they're joined by Adam Trivas, who's a professor of logic.
Wow, yeah, Learning How to Learn was huge, so this new course builds on that.
Seems like it. And people are responding. Over 4,800 enrolled already, and it's got like a 4.7 out of 5-star average rating. People really seem to like the clear explanations and the analogies they use.
Okay, makes sense. People need clarity with this stuff.
Totally. So our mission here is basically to give you a shortcut. We want to unpack how you can spot, maybe sidestep, those unconscious biases, how you balance gut feelings with actual logic.
And how you detect emotions messing with your judgment, both your own emotions and maybe even hints of it in AI output.
Exactly. So we'll pull out the key insights from the course. Think of it as the essentials for navigating critical thinking now in this sort of AI-heavy world. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. So where does the course start?
Right at the beginning, Module 1. It's called The Brain's Hidden Decision Makers.
Okay, hidden decision makers. Intriguing.
Yeah, and the core idea right off the bat is that it challenges a lot of our basic assumptions about how we make choices. It's not about learning brain parts like in biology class.
Right, not memorizing the amygdala or whatever.
No, it's more about fundamentally rethinking how your mind operates, why you decide what you decide.
Okay, so how does it frame that? Does it get into like the fast and slow thinking concepts Kahneman's work?
It does, yeah. That's central. It talks about the brain's really fast, intuitive, almost automatic system versus the slower, more deliberate, logical one.
And how those two are always kind of interacting or sometimes battling it out?
Exactly. Constantly influencing us, often completely under the radar. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The course really emphasizes that even super sharp people, like really experienced leaders, can totally fall victim to cognitive biases. It's not about intelligence level.
That's a crucial point because you might think, oh, I'm smart, I'm rational, I won't make those mistakes.
Right. But the course uses a really powerful example, Jack Welch, legendary CEO of GE.
Of course. Celebrated, but also controversial later on.
Well, the course apparently details how he fell into a specific critical thinking trap. A big one. Cost the company significantly.
Wow. So they use these real-world stories.
Yeah, to show how easily even, like you said, titans of industry can be led astray by their own flawed instincts if they're not careful. It makes the idea of these unconscious forces steering us feel very real.
It definitely grounds the concepts. So Module 1 is about uncovering these hidden drivers, these biases, using examples like Welch.
Pretty much. It lays that foundation. The module structure is pretty standard Coursera. 4 videos, including one specifically on Welch, another on how emotions can, quote, KO critical thinking, plus a reading, an assignment, discussion prompt, the usual package to make it stick.
Okay, so it helps you see the problem first, understand the hidden landscape of your own mind.
Exactly. Then naturally you start asking, okay, so I have this fast system, this slow system, gut feelings, logic. How do I actually manage that internal tug of war?
Right. When do I trust the gut? When do I hit the brakes?
And that's precisely what Module 2 tackles. It's called Navigating the Battle Between Heart and Mind.
Okay, the heart and mind battle. Makes sense.
This part really focuses on that complex dance between the automatic instinctive stuff and the slow, deliberate processing. It's trying to teach the art of knowing when to rely on intuition and when to pause and, really think.
And how does it explain why that's so hard? Why does instinct sometimes take over when it shouldn't?
Well, it talks about how that automatic thinking, which is shaped by years and years of subconscious learning, all our experiences, it can subtly hijack our logic, like without us even noticing.
Ah, The brain's sneaky shortcuts. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that was a real aha moment for me reading about it. These shortcuts are efficient sometimes, but they can definitely lead you down the wrong path if you're not aware of them.
So it's about awareness first then. Learning to spot when that hijacking might be happening.
And a big part of that is learning to spot the emotional tells.
Emotional tells, like in poker.
Kind of. Subtle signs in yourself or even in others that maybe feelings are starting to outweigh reason. It brings emotional intelligence right into the mix with critical thinking.
That's really important. It's not just about pure logic. Emotions are always there.
Totally. And the course stresses it's not about, like, ignoring your intuition. Gut feelings can be super valuable, right? Based on experience.
Right. Intuition is often pattern recognition that happens too fast to articulate.
Exactly. So it's more about understanding when that intuition needs a quick check from your more deliberate logical side. And the module offers actual techniques for finding that balance.
Practical techniques are good. And how does this tie back to the whole ChatGPT context?
Well, that's the thread running through the whole course. The goal is always helping you navigate this modern landscape, right?
Yeah.
Which is increasingly complex because of AI.
So applying this to AI, you mean like spotting if the AI's output feels emotionally loaded or if it's maybe pushing a certain bias?
Yeah, or even just recognizing when your interaction with the AI is being skewed by your own biases or emotional reactions to what it's generating is about being critical of the whole interaction, not just the text.
That's a sophisticated layer. Makes sense. And Module 2 also has videos, readings, activities.
Yeah, 4 videos, again, titles like The Brain's Sneaky Shortcut and Trust Your Gut or Your Head. A reading, an assignment, and they have this interesting plugin called Let's Have a Chat About It. Seems designed to be very interactive.
Okay, so putting it all together, after going through this, what are the key skills someone really walks away with?
The course lists quite a few tangible skills, things like systems thinking, better emotional intelligence, cognitive flexibility, which is huge today.
Adaptability.
Right. And obviously sharpened critical thinking, strategic thinking, and just overall better decision making.
And specifically framed within this context of AI and ChatGPT.
Exactly. That's the unique angle. It's not just critical thinking in a vacuum, it's critical thinking for now.
And the idea is that this isn't just academic, it's stuff you can actually use.
Definitely. That seems to be the main promise. Practical tools to genuinely improve how you think, catch those biases, make more solid choices day to day.
Useful for work, for personal life, pretty much everywhere.
For sure. Whether it's navigating your career, making personal choices, or just trying to be a more informed person in this crazy flood of information we live in, these skills feel pretty fundamental.
And you mentioned a certificate.
Yeah, you get a shareable certificate for LinkedIn, which, is always a nice bonus to show you've invested in upskilling.
True. And what are learners saying about why this course clicks for them? You mentioned the analogies earlier.
Yeah, that comes up a lot in the reviews. People really appreciate how it takes complex ideas, cognitive science, logic, and breaks them down with simple terms, visual metaphors, relatable analogies.
Making it accessible, not intimidating.
Exactly, which is key, right? Especially if you're trying to sit learning around a busy schedule. You need stuff that makes sense quickly and sticks. It seems designed for people to learn at their own pace effectively.
Sounds like a really well-structured approach then.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah.
So just to kind of wrap up what we've covered in this deep dive.
Okay.
We've basically journeyed through understanding the brain's hidden gears, those fast and slow systems.
Recognizing the mental shortcuts, the biases, the emotional influences.
Right. And then equipping yourself with actual tools to think more critically, especially now with AI becoming so prominent.
And it feels like this understanding is just becoming more and more vital, doesn't it, for anyone who wants to make considered choices?
Absolutely. Whether it's for your job, your life, or just, filtering the world around you, being discerning is key.
It really is.
So maybe a final thought to leave folks with. If we know our brains have these automatic shortcuts, these emotional triggers always running in the background, what's maybe one decision you're facing, even a small one today, that you could look at again? Just pause for a second and ask, hang on, is this my gut reaction driving this, or have I really engaged my logic here?
That's a great reflective question. A simple pause can make a huge difference. Keep digging into that fascinating space where our human minds meet these powerful new AI tools.